2022 Mustang GT 10-speed auto. It's an FBO, full bolt-on car, and it's a Grudge car, so we're not going to share the numbers. However, I think it is important to share some of the strategies when it comes to performance and the differences between GM and Ford. So on its competitor, the Camaro, full disclosure, we do Hellcats, we do Dodge, we do GMs. We are not brand loyal, so we're multifaceted. So the Camaro might rev out to 7,000 with the cam, 64, 6,600. The Mustang can rev to 7,800, 8,000 RPMs. So even though it makes less power technically on paper, we have a broader power band. Maybe it makes a little bit less torque. Sometimes that helps us get off the line easier, cut a better 60-foot, and the power band of it revving out RPMs. You're in the same gear longer, which ultimately cancels out the displacement. Now, granted, we can argue bolt-on, yes, displacement is always going to win power adders, but if you're wondering why Coyotes run 8 seconds with just a set of twin turbos and oil pump gears, it's probably because they have more RPM. So on a 10-speed trans, this Coyote is going to shift less in the quarter mile as a Camaro revving out to 66. So 6,600 compared to 8,000, that is a lot. That's over 1,000 RPMs every gear over the period of 5 gears. That's about a 5,000 RPM difference. So hope that helps. Let's get this thing on the dyno. We're going to put a drag pack on here, go to the track, have fun with it. All right, so we got the car in the dyno. Everything looks good. It made strong power. The direction was good. It shifted exactly where we wanted it to shift. Now we're going to validate this on the road. So we're going to go for a quick drive, make sure everything does what it needs to do, and make sure that the cool tricks that we added here are pretty cool. So for context, in this scenario, this Mustang specifically is set up for drag racing, grudge racing, road racing. It's a full NA build. So obviously, yeah, we're not going to be racing 1,000 horsepower cars. But when we're racing cars within the same power range, it's nice to just be able to focus on keeping the car straight and not worrying about, okay, cool, it's an auto. Am I going to downshift with the paddles and make sure I shift before it hits the limiter? Like, that defeats the purpose of having an automatic transmission. So in this case, what we did here is we offer a basically in manual, the car will auto upshift for you. And what that does is allow you to downshift to whatever gear you are. Let's say you're doing a 40 row, get into good RPM where you have that good power band, get on the gas and just worry about keeping the car straight. So and whether it's a 400 horsepower car, or 1,400 horsepower car, if you have one less thing to worry about, you can focus more on keeping the car straight, or looking at your gauges, or making sure, okay, cool, hey, is it still safe, or cutting a light, you know. So these are just tips and tricks that maybe they're controversial, but in the actual real world scenario where it counts, they actually help and they work and they make you a better and a faster driver, because at the end of the day, we built our cars to go fast, to race, to win, right? So these are just small things that we do. We're going to go for a ride now. Full transparency, I freaking hate Coyotes with MBRPs, Corsa, and headers. They are loud. They suck. They're annoying. You cannot have a conversation in the car, but they're fast. So I have to take my kind of personal emotion from a second, because at the end of the day, this car is very strong. I'm super happy with how it came out. It drives really well. It might make a lot of noise, but hey, some people are just into that. So let's start it up. Let's go for a drive. So right off the top, it's very loud, as you can tell. But what's really cool here is we can link the different drive modes to do what they need to do. So right now I'm just in normal mode. The trans is super soft. It's shifting. It's crisp. It's tuned. The trans is tuned as well. But it's a crisp shift, but it's not something that's going to be like, you know, throwing you back on the seat. We don't really need that when you're just cruising around. However, someone pulls up next to you and you gun it, it's going to get pretty aggressive. It's going to get pretty rowdy. So the Mustangs, the Gen 3s, they have different mode, drag mode. They have Sport, Sport Plus. All of those are amplified to each owner's perspective. So I like how the car drives. Don't get me wrong. Even though it's loud, I like how it drives. So AC on, it's 102 out in Texas so far, and it drives really well. Temps are fine. And we're just going to do a few gears here, just chilling. And I'm logging. Everything seems fine. The car seems good. There's no slip in the trans. I'm looking at the logs. My laptop's down here and you guys can't see it, but back to normal.